Hello everyone, my name is Bad Hair Day, and welcome back to Adastra. On the last episode, we saw the reconciliation after being caught in the act and all the stuff, and now we are prepared, hopefully, for the trial. It's not a trial. Well, it is a trial, actually. It's called a trial, but it's a debate, which is the second trial in this whole big fucked up thing that is the eventual choosing of the Emperor. So we will see what's about to go down. I follow Neferu into the throne room, the cavernous space just as empty as it was during the first trial. Like the first trial, though, a few of the palace regulars are sitting on the benches. Virginia on the left side of the room, while Alex sits on the right. The cat is sat alone, looking tiny compared to the rest of the room, his tail curled neatly under his paws in his lap. He smiles when he sees me, and I make as if to go sit next to him. But that's when the jackal grabs my hand. I pause and I see Alex's own inquisitive look before I turn to Neferu. What? Why don't we give Virginia some company? The jackal smiles at me gently, one of his ears flicking in the direction of the she-wolf. You can. I was going to go sit with Alex. Neferu's expression doesn't change, and he doesn't let go either, and his voice takes on a gentle, ominous tone, making me feel a little uncomfortable. Depending on how this trial goes, we may have some business to take care of before it officially ends. It would be best if you're close to me. It's then that I realize what he's getting at. Though I don't know what the process of becoming Neferu's pet is, I imagine it involves some sort of official business, like signing something. So I give Alex a little frown and a shrug, gesturing at the jackal. The cat continues to look confused as I turn away and follow Neferu to the benches on the other side of the room. Neferu. Virginia sits daintily on the bench, one leg elegantly crossed over the other as she holds up a paw with which the jackal kisses. Good day to you, Virginia. Even though I try to stay behind Neferu, Virginia peers around the jackal's muscular side to stare straight at me. I see that you've brought a guest. She holds out her paw again, and it takes me a moment to realize that I should kiss it. I did start the trend, after all. Indeed. Amicus requested I keep him company during the trial. As I come up from the paw kissing, I see Virginia frowning. My brother shouldn't be burdening you with a silly chore like that. The pet is capable of staying in his room, I imagine. It was a mutual agreement. Besides, he is rather good company once you get to know him. Oh, really? It seems our little simian is full of surprises. The she-wolf looks pointedly at me, and I don't have much time to wonder what she's talking about before Neferu is sitting down next to her, pulling me to his side to sit next to him. That would be an accurate observation. There's a momentary pause before I see Virginia lean forward a bit out of the corner of my eye. She speaks again, her voice is lowered. So the rumors are true? There's another pause, this time from Neferu. I don't believe I'm in a position to speculate on that. It is not my place to involve myself in woven politics. Virginia laughs softly, one that sounds completely fake. I'm not a fool, Neferu. I may enjoy your suave tactics, but I'd rather you not use them against me. I would not dream of such a thing, Virginia. Surely. Virginia shifts again, and now I know for sure that she's looking directly at me. So, I suppose he understands what we're saying, then. Well, he is sapient, and he does possess a lingua. I mean, he understands us. Virginia puts even more emphasis on the word. I see Neferu looking at the door, still smiling, though his paws seem to clasp each other a bit tighter than usual. You'd know better than I, being a wolf. Our children are as intelligent as ourselves, so I'm used to such an idea. Don't feign ignorance, Neferu. You've been around him far more than I have. It's a simple question, and one that you should answer honestly. Otherwise, am I to assume that you've brought a little spy to our conversation? Although the words seem harsh and dangerous, Virginia's tone is light, and Neferu just laughs. You accuse me of deception, yet we both know you've already figured out the answer. Why do you feign ignorance? The wolf fans herself with an air of nonchalance. It's the best weapon in discourse, and it is easy to feign stupidity, at least for me. It is expected on my part. And why would you say something like that? I have a vagina. Damn. It takes me a moment to absorb what Virginia just said, but Nefru's already chuckling with what's probably the first genuine laugh of the conversation. I see Alex look over at us again, and this time it looks like his eyes are narrowed a bit. It takes the jackal a few seconds to get himself under control again as Virginia continues to wave her fan, looking rather pleased with herself. Sorry, I'm not used to bluntness here. It's not impossible for us to be blunt on this moon, Nefru, especially amongst friends. I noticed the wolf was looking at me again, and once again I looked down. Anyway, it seems we made quite the mistake in overlooking Simia. Fuck. I may have to do a little research of my own in the archives. Amicus clearly knows something that we did not. Research? I feel my stomach drop. Although Amicus had assured me of things, I don't even know if I really look like a simian. All it might take is a picture to know that I'm not actually from Simia. Try to put that thought out of my mind for now as the doors suddenly open and Cato walks in, making his way quickly to the throne. Virginia finally takes her eyes off me, and I can only hope that she's not going to follow through on her research plans. The throne room is so quiet that I hear the old wolf grunt as he makes his way to the stairs before turning to face us. After a few seconds he sits down, his heavy muscular body slouched a bit in his seat, gazing out at us through his visor. A few more moments pass in silence, and just as I'm wondering if the trial is going to begin, I hear a soft mechanical whirring sound as the panel in the ceiling opens up. A dozen camera drones drift down lazily, fanning out in the air to position themselves in various locations throughout the room. One of them floats towards us and hovers just above our heads, the lens seeming to focus on my face. I drop my head again, the action having become second nature since I landed on this moon. Nefru nudges me, though. Come on, come now. Amicus brought you here to be seen. His tone is light as always, but I sense he's not saying that just to tease me. We're all playing a role here, and my role is to make Amicus look good, to show off to the triumvirates that he went to great lengths to obtain an exotic, fascinating alien pet. Might not like it, but that doesn't matter right now, so I lift my head. Instead of the dumb, vacant gaze I've been using this month, I go with a completely straight face. Watch the red light on the top of the drone. When it turns green, know that you're being broadcast.
The second trial will begin in 10 seconds.
Oh, the lights turn down low. With that, the lights slowly dim and everything goes completely silent. I just sit there looking toward the drone, Cato sitting as motionless as an ancient Roman sculpture. Then the doors open, and we all look over, including the cameras. Oh God, here they are. In walk Amicus and Cassius, side by side. They must have been waiting out there next to each other, just like Alex and I had been before the second trial. I have to wonder what that must have been like. At that word, the two of them walk up to the broad carpeted aisle and sync with each other. I stare intently at Amicus as he passes, just in case he looks at me, so I can give him an encouraging smile. He looks straight ahead, though, a more serious expression on his face than I'd ever seen. Everything stays quiet, and the only sound being the muffled shuffling of the padded feet and claws on the carpet. Once they reach the foot of the stairs, they come to a stop, where they both bow deeply to Cato. This lasts a few seconds before Cato finally shifts again, breaking the illusion that he was made out of stone.
Very good. You may proceed.
With that, the two brothers straighten back up before walking up the steps, splitting off to stand at either side of the acting emperor. They turn around and face us, both standing at attention, arms straight down at their sides. A drone levitates down from the ceiling, coming to a gentle stop midair in front of Cato. I notice a tiny red light on the top of the drone turn green, and the old wolf fixes his eyes on the camera.
Welcome to the trial of rhetoric. Rhetoric has long been a staple of Wolven civilization, and one of our greatest assets. Well known for our strength and tenacity, so too are we known for our use of words in negotiation.
Nephros snorts next to me, loud enough that I wonder if Kato is able to hear it. I hope not.
This is why it is not only important that we honor the art and history of debate today, but also prove our ability to use it as well. Being a competent rhetorician, Jesus Christ, is essential to being a competent emperor. Remember the rules. You will have the floor for 20 minutes. Do not reference your challenger. Now, the Amicus.
I see the slightest of twitches in Amicus's frame as he continues to stare ahead.
Yes, Emperor?
Oh shit. Oh shit. Got a spoofy freak out behind me.
Yes, Emperor? Please, honor Adastra and proceed to the floor. Offer your policies through the art of speech.
There's a slight pause, and Amicus makes his way down the stairs. If he's nervous, which I know that he is, he's not showing it at all. His movements are calm and reserved. He walks several paces forward, away from the stairs to stand in the middle of the aisle, just slightly ahead of me. He's so close, and I wish I could say something, get up and give him a hug and tell him that he's going to do great. But I know that time has passed. That the moment that everything has been building up to has just arrived. It's a strange feeling, watching something that's going to have such a huge impact on your life, but not being able to participate at all. I can only hope that Amicus is ready. He begins to speak, and when he does, it's not like his usual voice. Instead, it's deeper, broader, sonorous, I guess. What the fuck does sonorous mean? Let's get to Google. Do I dare? Okay, Google. Sonorous definition. I guess it would be sonorous.
Here's the definition of sonorous.
Yeah,
Of a
sonorous.
person's voice or other sound, imposingly deep and full.
Cool. That's not fucking a lot to ask of someone who's been talking straight for hours on a sore throat. Actually, it's closer to human singing. What?
20 millennia ago, we were chosen by the Romanus. Out of 1,000 species, they chose us. And was that not for a reason?
He's moving his arms and paws a lot too, in broad, sweeping motions. That's good. It's not unlike the dance, though he mostly stays in the same spot.
15 millennia ago, we rejected them. We became the first abandoned sibling, and our empire entered a decline of the likes that we had never seen before, closing off relations with siblings, losing children, losing resources.
Drone floats around his body, and I can tell that he's playing up the performance of it, dramatically gesturing with overly exaggerated expressions. I realize it's like I'm watching those dramas I've seen on Adastrian television.
We fell long and hard, as if our very moon was sucked into the pit. 5,000 years of misery and desolation. 5,000 years until Drusus saved us all.
Amicus goes on to describe the history that I had a vague knowledge of. Drusus re-established contact with the parents, reunited the Wolven Empire, and renamed the world Adastra, a name that represented everything the Empire stood for.
Since then, we've spread far and wide across the galaxy, found lost children, established roads to resources our moon desperately needed. But what we found to be most valuable? Rekindling diplomatic relations with the other siblings. With them, we shared knowledge and wealth, establishing ourselves as true siblings once again. Until the war. While our reasons were sound for initiating the conflict, the sudden and unexpected attack frightened the other siblings, leaving them to abandon us once more. We defended our rights and our dignity from the Camians.
Oh, Never mutters it under his breath, thankfully.
But at a great cost. Our empire has suffered for our victory. But there is a way to reverse this.
I don't know if the wolf is doing a good job since I have no point of reference, but as far as I can tell, he seems to be doing great. No stuttering or stumbling. Fuck you. His acting is pretty good. Especially if I'm comparing him to the dramatic actors I've seen on the screens. His movements are powerful but elegant, just like his voice. And I find myself beaming with a sense of pride that I've never had for someone else before. He goes on to describe the policies he's already told me about, reestablish relations with his siblings, fully uplift the children, reshape their role in the Empire. And the first step? Amicus suddenly turns to face us, whose gaze is on Neferu. An alliance. One that has been proposed by the Kamians. This may seem like a worrying prospect to you. It has never been done in the history of the Galaxias, but I can promise that while Emperor, I will demand respect and equal treatment from the Kamians. Their arrogance will be tamed, and Wolven dignity will be restored. The light on the camera drone in front of us is green, broadcasting our image of the entirety of Adastra. I'm at least glad that Neferu was able to control his eye rolling right now. With the course of my rule, I will place Adastra on the same pedestal as all the other siblings, if not higher. No longer will we be the half-sibling of the Galaxias. No, we will once again stretch beyond our system, beyond the quadrant, and yes, eventually beyond the galaxy. Amicus points to the ceiling. As Drusus proclaimed 10 millennia ago, to the stars. So I say now, to the stars and beyond. Amicus pauses dramatically in the pose, then bows before turning to walking back to the throne. Thank you, Cato. Fuck! Thank you, me! I did a good job sitting here and watching that happen. Thank you, Amicus. Cassius? I let out a breath watching Amicus make his way up the steps, passing Cassius as his brother makes his way to the same spot on the floor. So that's it. Amicus's part is done. Now it's Cassius's turn. And I watch as he walks to the same spot, an angry scowl on his face. It's angrier than usual, almost furious. And I wonder if he's upset about how well Amicus had done. But then he starts speaking, and I realize it's part of his show. Nationalists always provoke and harness anger. For 300 years, our empire has been in shambles. I jump and even feel Neferu tense up next to me as the white wolf practically screams. Not because of the war! Not because we chose a different path. No, this is because of Drusus and his flawed vision of the Galaxias as a whole. My brother was right about one thing. Adastra is the lowest of the low amongst the siblings, the laughingstock of the entire galaxy. No references to Amicus, Cassius. Cato barks him across the throne room, but the other wolf ignores him, swiping his paw through the air, his movements aggressive and violent. Enough of being the butt of jokes, of being spat upon, of being considered at the level of mere children. It is time for Adastra to once again be respected, revered, and feared, just like before Drusus. Cassius' speech goes on like that, describing Adastra in terms that makes it sound like the worst place in the galaxy to be. Just to say he wants to make Adastra great again, I imagine. I don't know if this is good or not. He's definitely being way more intense than Amicus was, and if that's the goal, then I'm worried. I glance over at Neferu and Virginia, and the troubled looks in their faces tells me I should have been more worried. I look up towards the throne, but Amicus is as still and straight-faced as ever. I feel myself start to sweat, wondering if this is the beginning of the end. My brother stated that the war was responsible for our sudden decline, a decline not so sudden when it's been happening for thousands of years. No, that war was the best thing that could have ever happened to this empire. It showed that we were unafraid, unintimidated by the most powerful force in the galaxy. We were mocked and laughed at openly before the war. Now those laughs are quieter. Behind dainty paws as our siblings realize just how dangerous we can be. They take us seriously now. Cassius turns his angry gaze on us.
But not seriously enough. Look who they sent to propose this. This alliance that my brother spoke of.
No references to Amicus, Cassius!
Cato is quieter now, as he knows he can't stop to... Okay, fucking nice, say that. The camera light turns green, and I once again get the feeling that the broadcast is displaying Neferu.
The one and only flower of Kamea. The Pharaoh's...
Wow. Ooh, you asshole.
son, with his oils and perfumes.
Ooh, shit.
Stinking up the halls of the Power Palace.
I glance up at Neferu, but his expression is hardly changed, though I see a hint of a smirk on his lips. Meanwhile, Virginia is hiding a look of shock, of horror, or both, behind her fan.
This alliance is highly suspect, and I must wonder what is really going on during those negotiations. Actually, let me give you an idea.
Cassius makes a sort of signal with his paw, then pauses. Everything is silent for a moment, and looking at the cameras, none of them are agreeing. I look around at the others, and I can tell that they're as confused as well.
What are you broadcasting, Cassius?
Cassius didn't even turn around to acknowledge Cato.
Just showing a small video clip.
You're allowed to do that? That's not cool. You're hijacking of...
Of what?
I see Amicus bristling next to Cato, and I feel the hair standing up on my own neck.
Of a traitorous act between my bro...
No. Oh, no. Yeah, of course. Yep.
Of a traitorous act between my brother and the flower jackal.
What?
Amicus is so puffed out that he looks almost twice his natural size.
What are you doing? Yes, Cassius, what are you doing? Cato, he bugged my room!
Amicus starts to move, but Cato reaches out from his throne to hold him back.
Stay there, brother. It's almost over, and don't worry, it's censored.
Cassius sneers back at Amicus before the red light on his drone suddenly turns green again. Cassius stares at the lens for a moment, letting the silence drag out for a dramatic effect.
Shocking, is it not? I already described the flower of Kamea. Do we also want the flower of Adastra to be our emperor?
Time, Cassius.
Cato's voice is soft, sounding almost astonished. Amicus is clearly having a much harder time keeping his emotions in check now. Even from this distance, I can see him working his jaw. But Cassius doesn't seem to be finished.
And let me leave you with this.
Time, Cassius! Yield the floor!
No, I will not yield. Adastra is the one out of time. This empire is stretched thin, and that proposes that we stretch even further. When do we break?
Cassius whirls around and points a finger at Amicus.
He looks towards the children and the siblings while completely ignoring us.
Cassius's bristled fur slowly starts to lay down again, the wolf making a show of trying to get himself under control again.
So, let me leave you with this. While campaigning in the outskirts of Adastra City, areas my brother completely neglected, I came across a young child with the same disease that afflicts me.
Of course, he's fucking pulling out all the stops here, aren't he? As his voice becomes much more gentle, lowering his muzzle a bit to stare at the floor.
Unlike me, she had no medication to speak of because her poor farming family could not afford it. She was bound to a wheelchair, her bones so frail that something as simple as a bath causing them to dislocate and break.
Guess his voice catches, and to my surprise, I see a tear slide down his cheek.
How dare this empire let our people fall into such a state that we cannot even care for our own people? I'm hearing that even now we can't afford to vaccinate those beyond our glittering city.
Cassius looked back up at the camera.
It may seem as if we cannot hear you past the walls of this palace, but I hear you. I promise to always hear you. I will not cater to the needs and wants of the siblings or children, to the Adastra City elites or officials.
Cassius sweeps a paw dramatically to his chest.
Not to the stars, but to you, the people of the Empire. Thank you.
Cassius bows low to the camera before turning back to walk to the throne. There's a long moment of silence as we all just stare at the White Wolf, and Com's voice crackles over our heads.
Triumvirates, make your decisions.
Suddenly I feel something grasp me around the wrist and look down to see Nefero's furry black paw holding on to me.
William, very quietly, we're going to get up and head to my room. Move around back so that the cameras do not see.
Why?
Because what Amicus had feared is about to...
The Triumvirates have made their decisions.
I see Nefero's eyes widen in surprise.
Already?
He seems to say it himself. He stands, and I have to stand with him as he starts to walk up the aisle towards the back of the room, pulling me along with him. I look back at Amicus, and I see the wolf looking right back at me, finally. His eyes are full of worry and regret, and I can tell that everyone knows that Cassius has won. My stomach drops, and I realize what I've been terrified of happening all month is actually happening. We've lost. I can only stare at Neferu's muscular arm as he pulls me towards the doors, towards an unknown and unwanted future.
Luthers.
After all this time, after everything we'd done, we've lost.
Amicus. Oh shit. Oh shit. Oh shit.
Calm, could you please calm down?
I'm sorry.
Neferu pauses. I look up at the ceiling towards where I imagine Calm to be, if he were real, and I look back at the throne.
Adrote. Amicus.
Amicus looks just as shocked as I am. Cassius, meanwhile, has his jaw set grimly. As always, I can't read Cato.
Lux. Amicus. Cable. Amicus.
What the hell is going on? Oh no, it's gonna be spun. It's just seemed like everyone thought Cassius was going to win, and if it was all based on that performance, then he should be winning.
So silly. Amicus.
There's a pause, one that has me realizing that we just won? I don't think it's that simple. Did we really just win?
Adastra.
Cato was staring straight ahead with his visor. I can see his paws gripping into the armrest of his throne. Silence goes on so long that Calm asks again.
Adastra.
Cato lets the silence continue for several more seconds before finally opening his muzzle.
Cassius.
I don't know what to think. Calm immediately responds.
The trial has been decided. Amicus is the victor.
The silence that follows that this time is deafening. No one cheers, no one moves. Even Virginia's fan is frozen, as if we are all stuck in a picture. All the while, the cameras continue to hover over our heads, each one of them flashing green for a moment. Finally, Calm is again the one to break the silence.
This concludes the second trial. Thank you.
With that, the camera lights turn off completely, and the drones hover up towards the compartment in the ceiling. The lights come back on. As they do, Neferu is once again pulling me toward the doors. I want to hold back and watch, but the jackal is insistent. And the next thing I know, the doors are quietly sliding open, and we're walking into the equally quiet, though much less tense atmosphere of the marble halls. Where are we going? We just won. As I say that, I feel the excitement finally replace the shock. We won! No, never we won.
Clearly, but that does not mean you are safe yet.
What? Neferu is quiet for a moment. At this point, the jackal is having to let go of my hand, allowing me to just follow behind him. What even happened?
Who do you think should have won, William?
I frown. Does that matter? The triumvirates decided. Amicus won.
True, but not just the triumvirates. We're watching. We all know who should have won.
This is what I was worried about. They're going to spin it. The anti-authority candidate got screwed by the authority, the elected officials, the triumvirates, who were threatened by a rumor based around Cassius possibly getting rid of them if he won. So, that's going to get spun. because of Alex. Or Neferu, if he is way less trustworthy than we thought. And we didn't really think much of him at the time anyway. I feel myself getting defensive. Cassius was being a total asshole, and besides, he cheated! He went over his allotted time and referenced Amicus and his points. Neferu laughs mirthlessly. Rules do not matter. I'm sure you've probably realized by now. Cassius did exactly what he should have, but he lost because of you. What? The triumvirates clearly made their decision long before the trial. We were hoping that they would not go against the will of the people, but Cassius' performance forced them to. You talking about the rumor about Cassius getting rid of them? That would be the one. I had thought that such a clearly lopsided win on Cassius' part would have deterred at least most of them. Their hunger for power is insatiable, it seems. Again, I feel myself getting defensive, but there's also a sense of worry creeping in. Well, I don't know. I think Amicus did great. Besides, it's their role to keep the Emperor's power in check anyway, isn't it? Yes, but that's not the point of the trials. And the people know that. Adastra will not be happy about this. Well, what does that mean, then? We come to a stop in front of Amicus's room, and finally the Jackal turns to face me. That I cannot tell you. I'm not an expert on the politics of Adastra. I am simply a student here. Amicus may have won this battle, but I can guarantee that the power struggle is far from over. Amicus can explain more to you when he arrives. For now, wait for him in this room. Jackal starts to turn to leave, but seems to notice the confused and probably worried look on my face. He pauses, then sits upon my shoulder. Do not fret too much over this. It is par for the course in woven politics, that much I do know. Drama is their identity, and we can only be along for the ride. Nefer smiles at me. Amicus will keep you safe, and if there's a need you have that he cannot fulfill, I'm also here. I know Neferu intends for that to sound salacious, but I also think he means it in a nice way. I put my hand on his paw. Thanks. Jackal nods at me before turning away to walk up the hall, probably towards his own room. Once he's out of sight, I press my hand to the panel and walk into Amicus's room, sitting on the sofa to wait. Well, fallout of the trial will happen in the next episode. Until then, ladies and gentlemen, thank you all very much for watching. And let's go ahead and do the end slate. Shit, man. Alright, on the left, you got patrons, and oh, man. This was a fucking lot. But anyway, right is the videos. One recommended for you. One is the most recent one. I want to know more about this, so I'm just recording the next one. Until then, bye, guys.